Hey guys, welcome to my 2:53 a.m. recording. I am but a fool. So this is part 2 of Gaming Pickups Part 6. I have previously gone over all of the changes and kind of new criteria in part 1 of this, which probably came out, a week ago? Maybe even a few days, I don't know how quickly I'm releasing these videos in succession. But the previous one was pretty much all of the games in the Gaming Pickups, but there's a little bit more to Gaming Pickups than just games. I believe there's actually more Gaming Pickups relating to gaming that aren't specifically games this time around than there are Gaming Pickups that are games. So this video definitely won't be short on content. There's just kind of less to talk about with most items because it's like, ooh, look, it's a thing. Whereas last time I could actually give details on the game itself. But there's a lot to get into, and it's about time we get to it. First off, plushies. This was the #1 voted topic to start with in the Discord server. And so, I did not get a whole ton of these. I'd like to do more with plushies in the future, but first one I got was an official, like, running Kirby plushie from a vendor at Com Bravo. For once I'm trying to turn on autofocus, so maybe I can actually get it to work. There, kind of. Yay! But I just thought this one was super charming. It's really well made, and I really like Kirby. They had a sleeping Kirby that I wanted, but he didn't have the sleeping cap on, so it felt like something was off. So I didn't end up getting that one. But I'm still really happy with this one, and I got it at a pretty good price, I think, at least. And the only other plushie I got was, this one's a bit crazy, but basically, there was one booth I found at Com Bravo, and they had 3 giant plushes. And one of those was a Boo, one of those was a Bullet Bill, and both of those are ones that I already have. I already have a Bullet Bill here and a Boo here, but this was a much larger one. The third thing they have was something I didn't have yet, though. And so I have a giant red shell now, and I thought it was perfect because I have people over all the time, and all anyone does is, like, mess around with each other and goof around, and what better thing for throwing around at each other like idiots than a red shell that is soft and squishy. It's literally canonically designed to be thrown at people that bother you, so it seems like a win-win for me. But I really like this one. It's pretty much just a full-on pillow, and it's really well made. Next category is shirts, which I really don't buy shirts all that much. This is probably one of my first videos where I'm not even wearing a gaming shirt because I just got off work, and this is the shirt I wear at work. So that's why I have this on. But I did get a few this time around. The first one was earlier this year. If anybody knows Cat Icarus, he changed the format on his show, and he was discontinuing the Slaughter Salvage shirts. So I managed to pick one up before they were fully discontinued. And I just really like the style, and I've been a big fan of his channel for many, many years. And it's really cool to get one of the shirts that represents so much of the time I've spent watching the channel. The next one that I got is someone that way fewer of you would know, but Ro Pranaganti is a friend of mine who does like progressive metal covers and stuff like that, and mostly works in the video game music communities. He's like an admin in the Pixel Mixers community, stuff like that. And he recently made his own shirts, and I got the one in purple, and they've also got his logo on the back. But I thought it was a pretty funny idea for a shirt because his first name is Ro, just R-O, and he's got a pretty cool looking logo. So this also matches my Insane in the Rain music shirt because I believe they're both from Teespring, or is it Teespring? It doesn't say on the tag. So it's like the same purple. So it's really cool to have that. And lastly for shirts, if anybody's heard of TKO in the Jackbox Party Pack 3? Maybe 4? I don't know which one we were playing, but you can buy a shirt if you put things together in it, but I've never really cared to do that until something came up. So we had one where a picture I drew and a quote that I made, somebody else put together into a shirt, and it ended up being the top shirt of our game. And I couldn't not get it. It's a really poorly drawn D20, but considering that you had to draw it on like a tiny phone screen with your pointer finger in like 30 seconds, I think it turned out great. And since it's a Nat 1, it says Endless Pain. I just find that to be a very funny one, so I got it. It just seemed like something goofy to get. Ooh. Now we're on to one of my favorite categories. Those were the two very small categories. Everything from this point onwards is going to have like 20 things. Next up is posters and 2D artwork. So there's, like, I don't know if you noticed, I like to, oh well, that's actually like the one wall in my room that doesn't work. But I like to hang posters and stuff, and it's pretty much the entire room other than like this one little corner, which still has like a picture up here. So there's posters all over my room. I don't really have room for any more, but I'm moving out in the next few months, so I'll find more room and have to reshuffle them all anyway. So while I was at Con Bravo, I found some very cool artwork, and also a few others that I've gotten in the time earlier in this year. So one that I got from Con Bravo is, I got this really cool Okami print. It's Amaterasu and... Is Isun on there somewhere? Wait, there's no Isun? No! I actually got two of these. There was and all of the ones from Con Bravo, I had the actual artist sign sometimes next to their already existing digital one, but it's so cool. I really like this one. I got two of them, and since at Con Bravo my roommate was Rabbid Luigi, and his birthday was pretty much near the end of the convention, I gave him one as a birthday present. So I had another Amaterasu one, but he has that one somewhere, and you might see it in his videos. It's a horizontal one with kind of a canvas print layout on it. Another one I got from that same artist was, I believe it's pronounced Sith. I just really like the backstory and the art direction of this character from Dark Souls. Although, admittedly, I haven't played a ton of Dark Souls myself, because I didn't get that far. I still got through like 3 bosses or something, and I've seen the game played to completion like 3 different times. But I always really liked the aesthetic of this boss, and it's just a coincidence it's 2 wolves in a row, I guess. But I really liked the aesthetic of this one, because I didn't really have anything to represent the Dark Souls games in my setup yet, and I thought that that was also kind of like a big tonal shift to a lot of things I have, so that was a really cool thing to add. And then there was one vendor that had some amazing Pokemon prints. They had to have at least had like 50 to 80 different prints on display, and that wasn't even like the beginning of their collection, or of the projects they'd worked on. But admittedly, I've never been a huge Pokemon fan. I've always thought like kind of the world was cool, but I always kind of felt like every game I played was the only, or every style of Pokemon game I played, I felt like that was the only one I really needed to play in that style. Like, okay, I played Gold. Why do I need to play a Hoenn game now? Why do I... And then I tried Gen 4 and I was like, okay, they changed some stuff, but it feels samey enough that I didn't really care. So I've just been playing like once every like 3 generations with Pokemon, and I've never been that attached to most things, but my favorite Pokemon game of all time is one that I found about a year or 2 ago, which was Pokken Tournament DX, and they had a print for my favorite character in that game, which is Blaziken, who it's like that one fighting game I actually consistently beat other people at. And I try to do that in a lot of fighting games. It doesn't succeed, but they had a really cool Blaziken one. And like, admittedly, this is probably one of the ones where like it was the least impressive artwork, which is saying a lot about that artist, because they went all out on some of their stuff, but they had some really good deals on all of their prints. So it was like buy one for like $15, and then like $5 and then like another $10 to get 2 more or something. So I kind of had to get more. So I just picked 2 more that I really like the aesthetic, whether or not I care much about the actual Pokemon. And I loved this Kyogre print. Also, if you look in Rabbid Luigi's videos, he might have one of these up, because me and him were at the vendor at the same time, and we both got this same print. Although, I think I'm the only one that got the artist to sign it. I just really like the idea of this one, because it's got, like, the different aesthetic of the surface area, and it shows kind of, like, the creepiness of it going underwater. I really like that one. And then one that was just too charming and cute to pass up was Mew. I don't know, Mew's a really cute Pokemon. There's a reason that people like Mew. And I thought that the aesthetic of this one was really cool, because normally it's like seen as kind of like a very fantasy-style Pokemon that's like kind of not in the real world or something, but this is just showing it in like a cool, happy, fun setting, and also whatever that thing is called, Pokemon is hiding out there. I never remember. The ones that stick on to the ray Pokemon. Or the Manta Ray? I don't know what it's called. I'm not good at Pokemon. I just thought the artwork was amazing, and I like it enough. Some other ones I got is, earlier this year we played Scalar on stream, and that ended up being a really fun game. So me and Josh actually had Steven. It's over here. I'll get a better picture up here somewhere. But we got the world map or the level map, I guess, also the world map, for Scalar. And we kind of got it with like a special frame and got that printed out at a pretty high resolution, because we actually found someone who had gone into the raw files of the game to get the map out, and we're really happy with that. So me and Josh each have one of those. And another one that we had something similar with was, which direction do I have to turn to make it on screen? This Legend of Dragoon one here, me and John each wanted one, because we're both big fans of the game. So we got 2 printouts of that Legend of Dragoon one, which is one that took us quite a while to find. The HD renders for Dragoon are not as easy to find as you'd think, which is kind of weird. Like, they're easy to find, but you can't actually find them at high resolution often, which is weird. But we found one that worked, and we had 2 of them, and I can't seem to get it on there. For that one, I'll get a close-up somewhere. That was a really cool one. It's really nice to have something to represent the game in here. And there was actually 2 pieces of art that I got that don't reference anything that I'm familiar with. There was one artist that just had such cool artwork that I just wanted them. Apparently he makes his own webcomic with, like, based on a nuclear fallout, basically. I don't know much about it, but his artwork was really, really cool. So I picked up 2 of his prints just because I liked his art style so much. So there's this one, which is like some guy in a winter coat with this weird robot thing. Can I get focus? And it's just got like this crazy landscape machine thing with like this vanishing point. And this guy, he had a lot of art. He's made so many things. He's got like 4 whole novels or something, or comic books that are like that thick or whatever, just filled with artwork, and there's like some cohesive plot to it, I guess. So I'm very interested in seeing what exactly it is, because his artwork's amazing. And the other one I got from him was this, which Josh actually said it looks like something out of a Xenoblade Chronicles game, which I find kind of funny, but I like it because it's got this really cool, like, what would you call it? Like this weird architecture, but it's kind of like overgrown and has a cool waterfall. Then there's kind of like this wasteland on the side, and just some characters there. I really like these 2 prints. They're really cool. There was a third one I was looking at, but his prints were quite a bit pricier than most of the other ones. And there was another one with like a boat in like the sunset, but it was like it had like toppled over. It looked like basically if the sea where the Titanic had sunk dried up, and then it was like covered in snow. And a few other things is some of my friends in the music community and video game community are actually streamers, and I'm in their streams quite often. And I ended up being, sometime in the last few weeks, I ended up being the first person ever to get the 1-year sub badge, because they got that about a year ago, and I think I got it like in the first week that they were able to receive subs on their channel. And we met up at Con Bravo again this year, We didn't talk too much last year in 2018, but we met up again this year, and they gave me like a pin or a magnet with their logo on it, which what's the point of having autofocus on if it doesn't do anything? There we go. So that's just a magnet, and I thought that was really cool. It was very charming for them to come up and like say, "Hey, we have gifts for you!" And then they gave me a sticker of their Steve emote, which is basically their raid emote, and then they both signed it, and they made like a little thing for each of their cats. So if you understand the channel, this is a really cool and charming thing to get, but if you don't, I can see it being just kind of a thing. So when I ordered the Legend of Dragoon and the Scalar prints from Steven, he said that something special was going to be in the package, which I don't really know what that means, because last time I ordered something from him and he said something special was going to be in the package, he gave me this Samus print for free. But this time, how do I put it? Let's just say during my streams and stuff, I have a rabbit named Bunky, where... Let me just grab him for a moment. So Bunky, who sometimes hangs out in streams, he usually goes around and does funny stuff, but he's a bit tired right now. But he's kind of a large focus of stuff we do on the Twitch streams, and he's kind of the comic relief of the channel to some extent. Steven finds him quite a bit more amusing than most people do, and so he made this weird nightmare collage thing. He's also made fan art of Bunky, which is these two things. He says it's Bunky with a or Kawaii Bunky and Dapper Bloke Bunky, I think he called him, and it's just this mishmash of like every like form of Bunky artwork he could find, and a few like kind of weird ones that he just photoshopped into little like blocks. Or which direction is it? So it's an interesting thing that he put together. I don't really know what to do with it. Like I'd hang it, but it would just make people concerned. I think I just don't know. And he made like this weird like gladiator text for his name. It's really cool and charming and exciting to have, but kind of scares me. But thank you again, Steven. I think that was his goal, because we've talked about it, and he said, yes, that's the plan. I have also, this year, been working with an artist named Bonus Josh, and we've been getting some emotes on the Twitch streams, and in the Discord server and stuff, and they're based on Bunky. So, the first of those is the Bunky Wave, which is just kind of like a hello or love or a happy or something. It's one that a lot of us really like. There's also an expanded version which has some weird discoloring that I haven't ever bothered to figure out because I don't really use this in many things. Also have a Bunky facepalm emote. The thing is, I wanted something for the streams that was kind of like a goofy, like, oh, disappointed or upset or confused or just something went wrong in general. But the thing is, I never really get mad in any of my streams, so I didn't want like a rage emote, because it wouldn't really seem that fitting. So I kind of went with the facepalm one. And then we also had a few different ideas for how the red lines would be shaped, and I still sided with kind of the more striped one, because it was just kind of an open-ended facepalm and not just rage or anger. For people who ever wondered why I don't have that little like plus sign kind of squiggle and why I have like the 3 lines, it's because I don't want it to just be rage. I want it to be kind of an open-ended use. And we even made a little sign of it that sometimes gets used in streams because we always have a group around. So Chris likes to hold on to this and just I don't know, like hit one of us with it or just hold it up to the camera. It's just kind of an ongoing joke. They're very fun to have those. There's also another one that we might be looking into turning into an emote. I'm only allowed 3 emotes on Twitch right now, so I don't know for sure if it's the right one, but Josh came up with this kind of like laughing one that's still in the sketch phase, and I really like it. It's just kind of a creepy, evil laugh. Still looking at what our 3rd emote for the streams could be, but this is about as close to we have as a start on the 3rd one. And lastly, for 2D art, there's this like plaque or mural kind of thing over here that I made that's just the and sign from Dungeons and Dragons. I've made about 5 of these now, and I've given one to Chris, and then Connor, our DM, Parker, who's one of our party members, I think Ezra has one, and then I have this one. They all have them in different colors. I let them kind of choose whatever color they wanted for the front, for the actual like logo, and for the back panel of it. And mine, I tried something a little different. I did it on like a foam board, so it's actually like fully 3D, which you'll have a close-up picture somewhere. But the thing is, that ended up being way harder to do the 3D one, so I only am making one of those. I'll see if I can find pictures of some of the other ones, but I didn't really take pictures of most of them, I don't think, so it's pretty much just going to be the one back here. But I did make several others. I also have the materials to make more. I just haven't done that yet because I don't think I really had a place for them, and I don't think I had anyone else who was that interested in having them. But they were really fun little projects. This category. We're gonna rush through this one because this is a category that no one cares about. Starting maybe later last year, one of our local game stores has been starting to stock up on kind of game manuals and like maybe folded up posters and ads and stuff. And so I've been kind of looking through that a little bit every now and then, and I found a few things that are pretty interesting to me. So one thing I got was an ad for the Sega Game Gear, which I believe it's like a full fold-out poster. So it's just got ads for all kinds of games on it, and then on the backside it's got a Batman game for it. I thought it was really cool to get like an official ad from the 90s, and then on here it also has like all these like accessory kits you can get, so I thought that was a really neat little thing. I also picked up a manual for the NES Zapper, or actually there's a few manuals in here. So I picked up a few manuals just because like either I have the hardware or it's just kind of a cool thing to have, because these were all like I think they're 25 cents or 5 for $1, so super easy to just get a few of them. So I got the official manual for the NES Zapper. I thought that was a cool find. The manual for the original DS, because I never actually had that model. I started with the DS Lite. The instruction manual for the Game Gear, because a lot of these I feel like are things that might not be as easy to come across. And a manual for the PlayStation 2, which I didn't actually have that yet. It might be helpful at some point. Lastly, I got a bunch of just manuals for games. Like, for the Master Chief Collection, I don't actually have most of the games on their own. I don't have Halo 1 or 2, and I found the manual for Halo 2, so now I have a manual for the game. Same for Sonic 2. I had the game and the box. I didn't have a manual for it. Now I have the manual for it. And for Scalar as well, except the manual was for, I think, like the PC version, or it doesn't say on here. What version is this for? This is the PS2 manual, and I have the Xbox version of the game, but it translates over for the most part. Then there was also a few manuals for Ninja Gaiden, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, and Pac-Man World 2. I picked up the manuals, then came home and found out I already had the manuals. I was under the impression I didn't, but I ended up having duplicates of them now. I did also find the manual for Gran Turismo 2, which I have that game only as a disc. I don't actually have a case for it even. And then this one, so I've showed this off in the last gaming pickups, or maybe 2 ago. I got this free copy of Toy Story 2 on N64, which is actually supposed to be a pretty solid 3D platformer collectathon for the generation. It's supposed to be like one of the best ones that people don't really know about. And I found a manual for, and in this game you play as Buzz Lightyear the entire time. So I found a manual for Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and I just kind of hoped it was the same game, and I looked it up, and it's not, because it advertises the correct game on the back. So, oops, I guess I have a manual for a different game, but that's cool. And then lastly, these are the same thing, it's just like different sides of it. But this is basically when the PlayStation 2 was coming out, and also the actual PS1, not the PSX. And it's just kind of like an advertisement brochure of sorts that advertises all kinds of like platforms or games or products you can get for them. And he was actually just giving these away because he had so many. So I thought those were really cool to get. And the last one was there's a Sega Genesis advertisement that I got over there. It's on my door, so I'll just throw a picture up. But it's a really cool one. It's just kind of like the Game Gear one. It advertises a lot of games. I forget which one it is, but there's of all of like the games pictured, all of them have a screenshot from the game. But I think it's like a Looney Tunes or something. But there's one where it's like literally just a picture from a cartoon and not the game at all. And me and my friends always thought that was a really funny thing with that one. But I have that up there in between the posters that came with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic. So one thing I haven't said yet is this list is set up in order of how much they interest me, starting from least to most. So now we're getting into the stuff that I get much more excited about. Although some of them aren't as flashy, they're more about practical use. This is controllers and controller accessories that I picked up. Either just cool things for controlling games or additional accessories. So the first one I got an extension cable for the Sega Dreamcast, which these are really nice to have. It's an officially licensed one as well. So because I have the CRT over here and the couch over here, and so the main controller will reach, but it's kind of a tight reach. I'd rather just have it kind of like laying across the floor and not really be straining anything. So having the extension cables is a really big benefit to that. I also picked up another NES Zapper because the local game store has so many of them and they're like $1 each, and I just wanted another one because I already have one right here and I have a gray one. Oh, it's just on a shelf over there doing nothing, I guess, until I find a place for it. But I have another one. I thought it'd be cool either to make some kind of display where these two are matching, or maybe have a display with both of them. I don't know. I just figured I'd grab another one because they're so cheap. The one thing I found while I was at Con Bravo is something that I think is a really cool thing to have that I didn't really think about, because I thought that a solution like this would be far more expensive. But I got an adapter that pretty much just, it's not like a rechargeable, but it basically just means that I can play my Game Boy Advance non-SP basically just through wall power, because it has kind of its own thing that goes into the back, and it pretty much replicates what AA batteries in the system would be like. Which, for normal gameplay, this isn't going to matter too much, but I was planning on playing a lot using I have a cable that connects my Game Boy Advance to a GameCube controller port, and so if I'm using the Game Boy player, I can use my Game Boy Advance as the controller. The thing is, if I do that, even though there's no screen display happening on the Game Boy Advance, it's draining battery power, and I'd rather just have a second cable coming out of the system than have to worry about draining AA batteries in the controller. So this is a really nice thing to have, because then I can just use the Game Boy Advance as my controller for playing games with the Game Boy player, and also not have to worry about the batteries dying on it. Even though, because it's a wired controller that has batteries, that has a battery life, which is really weird to me, but this fixes that problem by just adding another wire. I don't know if you guys have heard of the brand 8-Bit Dough, which they have very cheap looking packaging and advertising on their stuff, but their products are great, so I still really recommend them, and I tried out a few of them. One of them being in a wireless adapter, which just kind of looks like bricks from Mario. And what this does is you plug this into one of the USB ports on your Switch, and then you hit the sync button there, and then you put your PlayStation 4 controller into pairing mode, and it pretty much pairs instantly, and the Switch just recognizes it as a Pro controller. There's no input latency, or it's not any different from the input latency on a Pro controller, and so you just have a PlayStation 4 controller that works as a Switch Pro controller. And so it still has like all of the different buttons, so like it even has like the share, home, screenshot. It even has gyro control. It tries to emulate the HD Rumble to some extent. So it pretty much does everything you'd really need it to be. So if you'd have a PlayStation 4 controller sitting around and you're considering getting another Pro controller for your Switch or something, just get like the $20 adapter and it works just fine. The only thing to look out for with this one is if you put the Switch into sleep mode, you do have to repair it from scratch. But that's normally not too big of an issue, and also you wouldn't be able to use it in handheld mode because it requires a USB-A port. So there's that, but it works pretty well and we've messed around with it a lot. I'd also recommend making sure it's on one of the USB ports on the side. I've tried it with the USB port on the back of the dock, and sometimes it has connection issues, but it's really not that bad. We were still playing from like 30 feet away from the console anyway, so it was probably that. The other one is the G-Bros adapter, which is this little block that's like, I guess, barely big enough to hold, what, 2 AA batteries? And what this is it basically makes your Switch think that a GameCube controller or the Wii Classic controller, so you can just take a GameCube controller like this, just a first-party one, plug it into this, and then pair it with either your Switch or your PC, because there's a switch between the two, and it just recognizes it as a Bluetooth controller, and it works just fine, like just how you'd expect it to. And then it has additional buttons on here to make up for the ones it doesn't have, so like, there's 2 triggers, but there's only 1 bumper on the GameCube, so one of these acts as that. There's like the home screen and something else. I haven't messed with it a whole ton. I pretty much only mess with it in Smash, and in that I don't really care about what the other inputs are. And then on the other end, you have the same port that's on the bottom of a Wii remote, so you can actually take something like the Wii Classic Controller Pro and use that, and it will use that as a wireless controller. What I like about this is there's the GameCube adapters that people use for like the Switch to get GameCube controllers working on Smash Ultimate and stuff. And the thing is, that runs off 2 USB ports. One of them is just for Rumble, but you still need a USB port like this. This one's wireless, so you can actually use this in handheld mode on the Switch as well. And what I like about that is, by using the adapter for the GameCube controller, you have a solid option for something like Mario Kart or Smash or something like that. But what I also really like is controllers like the Wii Classic controller, or even like the NES and SNES Classic controllers, which both have those same ports on them. They can all be plugged in to the base of this thing and use as wireless controllers on your Switch. So if you want like really solid D-pads, which the first-party Switch doesn't really have options, but these 3 controllers all have really nice D-pads on them if you want some options for that. And 8BitDo also does make their own thing that's kind of like a wireless version of this that has 2 analog sticks here. So that might also be another one to look at. I haven't bothered with it because this pretty much covers it for me. Another thing I got is I got a new stand for my VR headset. I hadn't really had a very great stand before this. I had like a foam one that I had to mount down, but I got like a really nice solid piece that just holds the headsets on it, and now that's just a new thing I can set down on a desk, and it doesn't move anywhere, and it has a good center of balance. And it also, since it's pretty much flat all over it, it's a really easy thing to just place on it and then just have it good to go. So I don't really need to worry about anything going wrong or keeping my $400 headset in precarious situations, because this thing doesn't budge at all and it's a very solid piece. So it's really nice to go out of my way to get a much nicer headset stand, because I was looking at all kinds of $10 options and this was like a $30 option, and I ended up really thinking that it's worth it in the end, because I thought that would be way too expensive for what it was. It really does make it worth it, because it's just dense material the entire way through, so it's not budging, and it's really nice to have a solid stand for that. I got 2 more first-party GameCube controllers. the local game store has started stocking them a little bit more, mostly due to me peer pressuring him, probably. Because he always had like a giant drawer full of them, but they weren't available to the public because he was holding on to them in case he got a GameCube console in that didn't have a controller, and then he could have a controller that's the same color as the console, so he still just, now he just tries to have one of each color instead of all GameCube controllers he has go into the collection. So he was able to sell me a few of them, and it's nice to have a few more GameCube controllers, because I really like the GameCube, and now I've got a few GameCube consoles, a ton of GameCube games, and I'm having people over using 4 or maybe even like 8 GameCube controllers at a time, all the time. So it's really nice to have more GameCube controllers, like the official Nintendo branded one from like the GameCube era. So really nice to have those in the collection, so that it's a bit more reliable on there. Which now I think I have like 8 or 9 GameCube controllers, which no regrets on that, because they're just going to keep getting harder to find and harder to find in good condition. So I just want to make sure I can get all I can before they're just impossible to find. I don't feel that tired for some reason. And that contradicts a lot of it. Well, now we know whatever I say has no meaning. So, like I said, Gaming Pickups 6 Part 1 actually only has most of the games that I picked up. A few of them have additional accessories, and so I figured they fit better into this video than the last one, because some of them, the accessory is far more interesting than the game itself. And so, first off, I got Mario Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, which came with the pad as well, and it's the official one for the game. We've tested this out, and it works. I've been interested in trying this for a while. It just seemed like a goofy concept. I have almost no experience with DDR, but I was quite interested in trying this out, and now I have it. The only problem is, pretty much the entire game features a 2-player mode, but it's a picture of the 2-player mode, but I only have one dance pad with the game. But I found out that getting more dance pads is actually pretty cheap. People are pretty much just throwing them away as long as you pay shipping. So I have another one coming in the mail sometime in the next week or so, and then we'll be able to do 2-player madness for Mario DDR. This one, actually, quite a few games based on an accessory I got is I got an Xbox 360 Kinect, which I can't say that there's really any reason for getting this that I'm taking seriously, but there's too many funny opportunities and goofy things to mess around with it with this thing for me to just say no to it when it's like 10 bucks. So I picked this up, and I know you can also use this as an adapter for VR. So like I can set it up for like full body tracking and like the Oculus Rift for like, I don't know, VR chat and probably something else. I don't care too much about that, but it has its own proprietary port on the end. It looks like a normal USB, unless it focuses, I guess. Weird, like, proprietary one that has connection pins on both sides that are not symmetrical. So I got this adapter that should let me use it on PC as a PC controller. And so maybe I'll figure out something with that. But the main reason that I picked it up is because I want to force my friends upon some Kinect games, which I've gotten a few of them so far, and unfortunately the one local game store I have that has a large selection of these doesn't really have like any Kinect games under 40 bucks, and considering I'm pretty much getting all of these for like I don't know, half an hour of goofing around and not taking anything seriously, a bit of a hard sell on that, but hopefully I'll get a few more so that we can mess around with them. But it came with Kinect Adventures, which is the main game for Kinect. I picked up Kinect Sports because it was like $2, and Collectables because it was $2. And those are ones that we might goof around with. The main Kinect game we have right now that I'm interested in trying out is Rabbids Invasion, and it just seems like a crazy party game, and we'll see what happens if you try to play it. But yeah, we are going to try to set up the Kinect at some point and just see how horrible and how laughably bad we can make our experience with it. And so now we have the opportunity to do that. I'm probably more excited than anyone else about that. and I don't care about the quality control at all. I just want to goof around and make fun of how stupid something is, and if it works well, then that's just going to be a fun game to play, and I'm up for that. Definitely didn't belong in the last video, even though it is a game pickup, technically, not a gaming-related pickup. But I got Super Scope 6, and I don't care at all, and because it came with the Super Scope, which is something I've wanted for a very long time, and that's why there's been this empty spot on the wall for like the whole video so far and the previous videos, because that's where this usually goes. I've wanted a Super Scope for pretty much as soon as I found out what it was in Smash 64, and it's just such a cool, dumb thing, just like a little prop. It's like getting a Power Glove or a Rob. It's just one of those really cool Nintendo collectibles to obtain, and it just makes a really cool wall piece. And I also have a sensor thing so that I can connect it to a TV if I want to. I don't actually have a working SNES anymore, because mine was basically the Retron 5, and that thing sucks. Never get a Retron system, because every experience I've had with one, or every experience I've talked to somebody about, has been awful, and they apparently have no customer support. I'm talking about things other than what's relevant. But basically, I don't really have a way to play the game, but I think the Super Scope is really cool, and I got it at a pretty solid price from a friend who was just getting rid of it. So I heard some of you like the more interesting types of games, and I have something special for you. I found Mario Paint, which I haven't known a ton on. I've seen bits and pieces, mostly of the music software, but I have a friend, Danny Music, who has recommended it to basically anyone and everyone who will listen, and I've been interested in checking it out. It's particularly weird and notable because it has a mouse for the SNES. It's got like its own like plastic mouse pad thing, so I'm interested in seeing what this turns out to be like. We'll get to it eventually. It's going to be a wild ride.
Try not to make this part look cringy, Harrison. I'm sorry, I'm just bad at everything.
Hi, I'm Danny Music. The reason why I put a small Mario Paint arrangement at the end of each of my videos is because the composer feature of Mario Paint was what seriously got me into music. I first discovered Mario Paint Composer in 2008, watching videos of video game music covers made in the program by H.C. Bailey, Tom Bob Blender, and others, and I thought, hey, that's cool, I'd like to give that a try. This led to me making my own Mario Paint arrangements of video game music, which led to original compositions in Mario Paint, which led to studying music and writing for real instruments, and now I'm going for my doctorate in composition. So thanks Mario Paint for being a huge influence on my life.
We are on to my favorite category of the entire video. This is the weapons. This is where most of the expensive things from this category are in, because if you've seen, I collect a few weapons. I have like the Master Sword, the Monado, the Keyblade, the Energy Sword. There's like a Smash Ball, there's some Undertale dagger thing, there's another Master Sword, there's a giant katana, this vertical thing there, and there's just an entire wall over here next to the couch that's just full of knives and swords, because I used to collect them and I thought they were cool. I still think they're cool, it takes a lot more to impress me now with them, because they take up valuable space, and I don't do a lot with them, other than just look at them. But sometimes they're just so cool I can't say no, and that happened a lot this past 7 months since Gaming Pickups 5. So let's get into it. To start, there was a vendor that I met at the very end of Con Bravo that was selling keychains, and they had really cool ones. So a few of them were weapon themed, and so one I got was this Devil May Cry sword. Ezra and Connor both knew what the character's name was. I don't really know for sure, because the thing is, we're starting Devil May Cry soon. I haven't already started it, so it's just like this keychain thing, and it's just solid metal for the entire thing. And they did have one more that I really liked. And these things were way cheaper than I ever expected them to be, too. But they also had the Leviathan axe from God of War 2019, which this is one that I think looks really cool. I really like this one. I mean, you can kind of tell. I'll get a better picture of it somewhere. But those are the two tiny weapons I got, which are still really well made, and they're both just like solid pieces of metal. So, very cool for that. Kind of like my one Master Sword pencil opener, or card opener, which I don't know if... This was in the last Game & Pickups, right? Probably. I'll find out. If it's not, I'll throw a picture on screen. And then, one more keychain style one that had its own like special box. You thought I'd just go for the Leviathan Axe, but no. They had a really cool Blade of Chaos as well, which I haven't even taken this out of the plastic yet. Where's the seal? The paintwork is a little weird on some parts of it, but it's a Blade of Chaos. And I think this one's really cool. I like this one a lot. It was much more expensive than the other two, and for the quality difference, I'm not sure if it was worth it, but it's a really cool thing to have. I just don't know if I can put 3 metal keychain things on, especially considering there's more to come with that. Then, now on to real weapons. Those are just metal weapons that are tiny and replicas, but what if we got ones that are actually weapons? Altair's dagger from Assassin's Creed, which it's not the greatest built one, but it looks really solid, and all of the metal is actually metal. It's just kind of got a more cheap plastic for some of the other things, and this is like almost a weird like barbed wire. But I just got it because it was a lot cheaper than I ever expected it to really be, and it's a really solid one. Also, for all the blades I show after this point, they have the potential to become real weapons, but they're not actually sharpened. Like this one, like it's a very wide blade. Like it's a solid like 2 millimeters thick, so it would be really difficult to sharpen that if I wanted to do anything with it. But it makes for a really cool, just like prop piece, and it looks really nice too. And then one of my coworkers also gave me something quite interesting. He had just an actual sword sitting around, and the handle, I don't know what the handle's in reference to, but it's a pretty solid handle. The blade, however, it's literally just the Buster Sword. So it's kind of like the Buster Sword, sort of, but the handle's different. It's got some weird stains and scratches on the tip on this one side, which I can't seem to get out, but it makes for a really solid blade. It's very heavy, though. It's very front heavy. It's tiring on the wrist to hold this one, but it's a nice one, and it's all metal. These are all real ones. Oh no. These last 3 weapons... Yeah, I spoiled it. There's 3 left, and these 3 are absurd. So another one that the same friend who gave me the Buster Sword lookalike, he had this... Where can I even move the chair? He had this massive war spear thing that I think is almost as tall as me. I think it is nearly as tall as me, but it's just this giant like war spear, and it's actually really well balanced, and it has a very comfortable hold to it, and it just looks so cool. It's got kind of like this spike and all kinds of engraving on it. I really like the texture and material on the handles. It also unscrews at this middle part, kind of like a what do you call them? A billiards cue, I guess. And so it kind of turns it into 2 separate ones, although that makes this front one a little front heavy. But a lot of things that I like about it are the artwork and engraving on it is really cool at the front end, which I'll probably have to get better pictures of it afterwards. But yes, still real metal, but not particularly sharp. Except for at the point, which even that isn't that bad. I don't know. Really cool pickup, especially considering it was just given to me for free because they felt like they didn't have the space for it. These are the most, or at least one of these 2 things is the most expensive thing that I got at Con Bravo. So, the second to last is I got Geralt's dagger from The Witcher 3, and this one is a much higher production value than the Altair one, because the sheath is actually real leather, and it's made with a much stronger type of metal. I don't believe it's entirely accurate to his dagger in the game. It's a bit more based on the silver sword with the hilt, but this one is a lot more in line with something that could be sharpened if I need it to be, or if I wanted it to be, and the handle quality and grip is much nicer. They also have the Witcher logo in the hilt on both sides. So this one is one that I am very happy with, and it's a very, very high quality replica. Probably one of the highest quality replicas I have in my collection. And then the most exciting thing probably in all of Gaming Pickup 6 Part 1 and 2 is this. I got Geralt's Silver Sword from Witcher 3, and this is the officially licensed one that only one blacksmith company even makes right now, and so it's got the actual design on there. They also had the Silver Sword there at Con Bravo, or the Steel Sword, and I compared the two, and I just found the Silver Sword to be far more unique, and so I went with that one because it had more interesting things with the lore, it's specifically for killing monsters that have certain resistances to natural materials, and it just kind of had a more cool design and unique one with the hilt here, and it's such nice quality. This is a really, really premium blade. It's got actual wrapped cord all around it, and it's hand engraved on the end piece here, and it's got a solid shoulder strap. All of this, even the strap, is real leather, and it's got this really cool design on the blade where it's kind of got these grids or grooves that go all the way down. It's so cool, and it also goes over the shoulder, but unfortunately I don't have the flexibility to have it over my shoulder and also be able to draw it, but I can kind of show what it looks like over the shoulder. Probably not a good thing to do in my work outfit. What if my manager sees? It looks kind of like that. There's probably better ways to wear it, but I haven't spent too much time because I know it's far more upright in the game, but I just can't pull it out of this because my arm doesn't reach that far, and people have tried to do that with my Master Sword as well, but that one is even shorter and people still couldn't do it. So this was a really nice pickup. It's a fully realized sword, also definitely thin enough at points where I could probably sharpen it if I wanted to, and it's also got really nice balance to it and really cool engraving. So this is my favorite thing that I picked up in all of Gaming Pickups. Probably, it's for sure my favorite thing that I picked up in all of Gaming Pickups that isn't a game, but I think it's probably still my favorite thing I picked up in all of Gaming Pickup 6. Because that thing is awesome, I love it. And now, what else can I say in this video that can overdo that? Next category. Games Other. Wow! I'm clever with naming things. First on that is my Con Bravo pass. Which, I mean, there's not much to it, but I got a pass for Con Bravo. It came with this crappy little lanyard thing that I hate. And I replaced it with a brand new Breath of the Wild one, which is an official one from the Breath of the Wild reveal at E3. And I've never been a huge collector of lanyards. I had this crazy Super Mario Bros. One, but I gave that away to Will as a birthday present, and so now I have a Breath of the Wild one that I like the art direction on it a lot more. So another thing I got was, apparently someone in my family bought cereal that came with Pokemon cards. I've never collected Pokemon cards ever, but now I have 3 of them because a cereal giveaway. So I have a Pikachu, Ghastly, and Bellsprout. So, if anybody wants Pokemon cards, I got some. I'll just throw them on the shelf for now, but I don't know what to do with them. I don't collect Pokemon cards at all. But I guess it's cool to have at least, like, one of them. Because Pikachu's fun. I like Pikachu. And I remember Ghastly and Bellsprout. Yeah, I remember them. That's about it. I also got super cheap at a local game store because they had a collector who gave up on quite a few things. So they had an officially licensed Kirby Right Back At You figure. I believe this is probably like a Happy Meal toy or something for some corporation in like maybe the 90s or whenever the show aired, probably early 2000s. It definitely looks like a cheap product, but I guess it's officially licensed, and it also is on wheels and has a keychain hookup, so I don't know, it's a cool little thing to have. I like it. It's just a neat little Kirby figure. I like the pose, because like, I wish they still had Happy Kirby though, because in America, every picture of Kirby, he's mad, and it's so dumb. Why do they have to make him mad? Throw up the comparison image. Another dumb thing I got is, these were 25 cents, and I just thought that the packaging was so charming. I'm not going to actually use the contents of it, but the packaging was very charming, and so I got Pac-Man Band-Aids, or adhesive bandages, because that's a brand, Band-Aid is a brand name, I guess. I just thought the packaging on them was really cute and charming, and I like that, so I just kind of have that as a goofy little display piece, but nobody really knows that they're adhesive bandages until I point it out or they look closely. But mostly it's just like a cool little Pac-Man thing. I wonder what... Does it have a date on it? Well, I mean, I can't imagine these are a very recent thing. I mean, they could be, but... They seem like an older product because of some of the just general wear on the cardboard. But it still has most of its contents, I think. Yeah, it's supposed to have, what, 10 Band-Aids? Yeah, there's all 10. So it still has all of them. Cool. So if I decide to be an idiot and I'm broken, we have Band-Aids on demand because they're just going to be sitting on the shelf over there. The last keychain thing I got, at least I think it is, at the same panel that had some of the Leviathan Axe and the Devil May Cry sword, they had something that I really liked. So they had this kind of like a dog tag type badge from The Last of Us that has the Firefly logo on it, and I really, really like The Last of Us. It's one of my favorite games. It's probably in my top 20 games. I really liked the game, and I just think that having the Firefly logo on like a little charm like that is really cool, because it's a really well-made product as well. So it's really cool to have. And then the local game store also had this for $1. I don't really know what to do with it, but it was really cool. So this is an official lunchbox tin that is Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart 64, and Super Mario 64 all at once. I'm pretty sure it's officially licensed because it has like Nintendo Seal of Approval stuff and the Rareware and N64 logos on it. And it's just like a simple little metal lunchbox. But apparently this is a really hard to get collector's item that doesn't show up often. I had somebody in my Discord server who was trying to buy it off me, and I was like looking it up. I found like one listing for something similar but not exactly the same that was like $90 on eBay, and that was like all I could find of it, so it might just be a really rare collector's item that I don't know about, but I found it for $1. I thought it looked cool, and I'm just gonna leave it on my shelf because of that. This, I don't know if this would have fit in 2D art, but there was another vendor at Con Bravo who was making these little display figures. So I got the Hollow Knight, and he's on like a little display mount, and it's just a magnet for the mount. Oop. There we go. But it's not as cool as just having him upright and be the artwork, but also his hollowed self, or whatever the official term for it is. I haven't played Hollow Knight, but I have been present for most of Doug Perry's playthrough, and I'm really interested in playing it sometime soon. But don't rely on the magnet for turning and twisting. But basically, it has both sides of the character, so I can just kind of choose which one I want to have up. And also, I just really like the artwork, and it's really solidly made, even though it's made with like cheaper materials. He found a way to make it in a very professional way, and I really appreciate that because these are really nice. And then lastly, for this category, things that are actually on my backpack, which I'll probably get closer up pictures of. But I have a few pins that I've picked up. So I got the Samus's ship pin, and then that and this are from the same place, which I'll probably link somewhere below or put on screen. But it's a really solid pin. It's actually got kind of like a texture across all of the black lines on it, and it's solid metal, and it's got really, really vibrant colors, so I really like that. And I've been looking for just kind of a cool Metroid pin, and I've never really found any I liked until this one, and I really, really like this pin, so super cool to have that. And I'm pretty sure it's based on the Prime 2 or Prime Hunters version of the ship, which I'm pretty sure those are supposed to be basically the same model. And that was one of my favorite models of most of the things Metroid, was that those two games. And then they also had these Banjo-Kazooie pins, which this is how I first found out about these guys, because Grant Kirkhope was retweeting these pins. And apparently they were like a limited supply, so they had 4 versions. They had a music note, a Jiggy, a red feather, and a gold feather. And I think they made like 50 or 100 of each, and they were pretty much sold out right away. And I managed to get the music note and the Jiggy, but I no longer have the Jiggy, because at Con Bravo, I met up with Gabe Ocarina 96, and we'd been talking for a while, and I gave him the Jiggy one, because he's probably a bigger Banjo-Kazooie fan than I ever could be. And so it was really cool to have that. So now he has the Jiggy one, and there's also a copy of Final Fantasy VIII that I had, but I no longer have it because I gave it to him. Apparently it's not a very easy game to come across in Canada, but I know where to get 5 or 6 different copies around here that are pretty cheap, so I picked up a copy for him.
Hello again, and it would seem that I'm back to talk about Final Fantasy VIII, which I have not played actually. This was given to me by Levi at Con Bravo, and I'm super excited to play this one because I started with Final Fantasy X not so long ago, then I played 7, then 9. The logic is not there for the order, but I don't care, I'm having a good time here. But now I'm really looking forward to playing this one because Final Fantasy VIII has some of my favorite tracks in the series, and I'm looking forward to hearing them in-game, and also the story seems super cool. So I this is going to be a good time, I'm sure of it.
So, I heard you guys like the Wii Balance Board. You know what my favorite game for the Wii Balance Board is? BAM! This one. This is the greatest game on the Wii Balance Board. You know why? Because you do stuff. Basically, the Punch-Out series has always been very fascinating to me because of what it offered to, or what it did to revolutionize gaming for a lot of people. Not necessarily in what it did as a video game, but what it did to branch into other media and connect people that were not really involved in video games to get them to check out video games and see what they do and don't like about it, but at least get it on their radar, because boxing and stuff was a huge thing back when the first Punch-Out came out in arcades and NES and all that. And a bit after that, they ended up getting an SNES sequel, and didn't hear anything on the 64, nothing on the GameCube, and we finally got another game on the Wii. Still nothing since then, but at the very least, this is the newest one in the series, and I've been meaning to check it out for a long time because the games look really fun. It's just like the over-the-top, stereotype-filled, just crazy, wacky, cartoony version of the boxing from Wii Sports, basically. And these games have always looked really fun to me, and I've been meaning to check them out. So, yeah, I'm excited to get the chance to try it. And I didn't even find this out until after I got it, but it works with the Wii Balance Board. You can use it to like lean left and right and dodge and stuff, so super excited to give that a go. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited to try this.
Punch-Out for the Wii, as you can guess, is a remake of Punch-Out for NES. But in my opinion, it's actually kind of better. I mean, it plays a little better, and there's 2 different control options, as you can guess. Being on the Wii, you can use the Wii Remote and Nunchuck and like punch it like you do on Wii Sports Boxing, or you can use the Wii Remote sideways like an NES controller. And like there's one new fighter in it. I don't really want to spoil anything. And there's the new fighter, and the rest of the people you take on are just opponents that you took on in Punch-Out on NES and Super Punch-Out on SNES. And no, Mike Tyson's not in it.
So then, the last thing for just gaming other is... Actually, this might be better than the sword. Well, no. I don't know. This is something I'm very, very excited about. I'm just too tired in the middle of recording to get super excited about anything. But basically, where did I put it? Alright, so story time with Levi. My favorite games of all time are Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 2. And I borrowed both of these off of my friend Connor years and years ago, and I really, really liked them a lot. So much so, and I had borrowed 3 off him, but it didn't hit quite the same mark for me as the first 2 games. Then, I ended up picking up my own copy of the trilogy, which, prior to it being released on the Wii U as a $20 download, this was not an easy game to find, and it was quite expensive. It was like a $70 or $80 game. It might still be, I don't know. And I was super happy to get this, because now I have 2 of my 3 favorite games of all time on one disc. The thing is, there's 2 versions of the Metroid Prime trilogy. And these games mean a whole lot to me, because so much so that even after borrowing them off Connor, getting the trilogy edition, and then going back and purchasing all 3 of them in their original format again, even though I had the trilogy version, because I do like the GameCube release on those, although I do prefer Corruption in this version, because they do add a few things and just minor tweaks and stuff like that. But the one version other than this is there's a version of the Metroid Prime trilogy that it has a steel case with extra like engraved artwork on the front and back, and it has an art manual and concept art on the inside as well. And I've wanted that steelbook for so long. It's one of the collectibles that I've probably been searching after for the longest time, and I'd mostly kind of given up on it because I just didn't have the budget until more recently. And I just saved the eBay search results on it. So typically that, like, what's the average price on it right now? I think the average price for that steelbook now is between like $200 and $350 or so. It is very, very sought after, and it would be like one of my favorite things to add to the collection, but it is just so expensive, and it doesn't show up in the wild. Even my trips to Con Bravo, local conventions around here that I've stopped at, which actually there's only one of those, and that was a long time ago. I don't think I even looked for games, so don't count that. That doesn't matter. And just local game stores. I've never seen it physically, and even online, it shows up a lot, but it's just super, super expensive. And so I saved the eBay search result, and basically anytime something gets added into that, I'll get notified. I never got notified of that stuff, like, ever, and I've been in that bookmark for like 3 or 4 years. But something a few days ago, I got a notification on my phone, like, new item added in search result for Metroid Prime Trilogy Steelbook. And I was like, oh, okay, what do you mean by this? Like, and then I wanted to see what the listing was. Computer, stop it. And like I said, you don't find this thing for under $200. You just don't. Not really nowadays, I don't think you do. Somebody just threw it up there. They're like, okay, I don't even want to bother with a bid. Buy it now. It's an older Wii game. The Steelbook's probably not worth much. $25, $5 shipping. So I reviewed the description quickly, everything checked out, returns were accepted, and I got it! So, that's on the way in the mail, and considering how much time is probably between me recording this and me actually editing and uploading this, I probably have time to throw a picture up here. I'm finally going to be adding one of the things I've wanted the most for the longest time to the collection, because somebody had no idea what the value of the thing they were selling was. And I'm super excited. Oh, I'm starting to yawn. It's hard being excited at 4:33 a.m. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be recording at this hour, but whatever. There's so many exciting things to talk about, and there's still 2 more categories after this. But yeah, super excited to add that to the collection, and that's gonna be so much fun to just make a display out of all 5 Metroid Prime Trilogy games that there are physicals of, and I'm just super excited to be able to do that. And just that art book, I really want that art book, because the concept art for the Metroid Prime Trilogy is amazing, and so super excited to add that to the collection. And second to last category, we're on to music. And so there's a few music CDs and stuff that I have gotten, or things from the video game music community, which is a community that I try to play a somewhat big role in. I generally am more of a footage getter and maybe working on collaborations, communicating with people. I know a lot of them as friends. I don't necessarily do any music production of my own, but it's really cool because I've gotten a few things in this past several months. So Gametal, or Johnny Atma, it's also Game Metal, I think. He sent me a copy of his Dreamland Invasion album, which I believe is his first physical album, and it's a bunch of Kirby music, and he has some very fun, upbeat tones, and even signed it and said thanks to Levi. And I'm pretty sure this was a free copy, just because I contributed footage to his a few videos of his, but I think this one was for Hydro City Zone Act 2, and I still had to go in there and throw in a tip or something in Patreon, but it was super fun to get that just out of nowhere, and it was even signed by him, so that was really cool. Another one is I got Snowtopia, which is made by several friends of mine in the community. The game Brass, which is a newer group that started maybe a year and a half ago or something, but they didn't really get noticed by anyone until maybe October or November last year. And this is an album that they came out with of winter-themed music in December, and they didn't sell too many of these, I don't think. And it'd be really cool if you guys could go support them a little bit, because the music in this is really great. They've got some really solid themes. And it also came with a sticker for their band, and it has all kinds of cool little references Banjo-Kazooie notes and stuff. But also, while I was at Con Bravo, I met one of the musicians who was in it, Danny, and I got him to sign it, and hopefully one day I'll be able to get Alex and Robbie and all the others in there as well. So it'll be really cool if I can fill some of this up, because it's a really cool and charming album to have. I also have The Eightfold Road, which is one by Family Jewels, or Jules Conroy. And this is one that I got day one and when it became available physically. And then I ran into them again this year at Con Bravo and got Jules and Adriana to sign it as well. The only other ones who are in it that haven't signed it, I believe, are Carlos Eni and... there's one more. Is Sab in this one? Oh, Dan is in this one. Or Dan De Simone, the 8-Bit Brigadier. Oh, Jake and Sab are in it as well, so there's a few more musicians to get in it, but Jules was the main one behind all of it, and Adriana was part of at least 1 or 2 tracks in there, so that's a really solid album. I really like the Octopath Traveler music. And this one I haven't gotten anything signed on it yet, but this is already one of my favorite pieces of music that I own. This is Omega, a tribute to Xenogears, and it's actually a 2-disc album that like tons and tons of people from Material Collective have worked on. There's like, I think they're all behind here or something. There's like, they actually have to have like a guide because let's see. There's 44 songs in here, and like each song is a collaboration between like anywhere from like 3 to like 25 people. So there's so many people that worked on this album, and it's a huge production. And Xenogears has some amazing music, so it's really cool to hear. And I really highly recommend this album. I hope they still have physicals of it, because Materia Collective can run out of their physicals and stuff pretty quickly, but this is definitely one I'd say go for, because it is definitely one of my favorites. Now for the like most exclusive music things I got. I got some things that are almost irreplaceable, honestly. One of those is, since I had a certain Patreon tier for Carlos for a number of months, he sent me one of his business cards and a used reed. So I have one of Insane in the Rain Music's reeds. Just a goofy little thing. Definitely interesting to have, but the real highlight is something else he bundled with it, which he wasn't going to bundle it with it, but I asked him about it. I was like, do you have any more? What's your price? I want it. And so he has an album that he came out with a while back called Alola That Jazz. And what he did for that is, it's like a full Pokemon Sun and Moon album. It's like, I don't know, it's like 8 songs, I think. And they're such good renditions of them. I really like what he did with them, because Carlos is one of my favorite musicians out there. The thing is, there was no physicals of this album. What he did was, he had a jazz competition like 5 or 6 months later, where everyone on the internet was able to contribute. They had like 1 week to from scratch make their own jazz rendition of whatever video game tune they wanted, and they had like a board of reviewers and raters and stuff, and they pretty much narrowed down the best of the best, and they brought it down from like 250 submissions to like the top 20 or so, and the top 3 positions got a physical copy of Alola That Jazz. And so, Carlos actually had made 4 copies of Alola That Jazz, to my knowledge, physical. And that was 1 for him, and then 1 for first place, 1 for second place, and 1 for third place in the competition. He wasn't able to get in communication for a shipping address for the person who won second place, and so even almost a year after that, he still had 2 copies of the album physically at home, and he gave me one. So this is one of the only physicals of this album ever. Like, I pretty much only the creator and 2 other people who like won like high honors in a jazz competition have these. So this is a very, very exclusive album that is not going to be easy to find. I'm still not sure why there's a barcode on it, but it's a very, very special thing. It's certainly one of my favorite things in the collection, because it's just something that like you don't see every day. Is like somebody who has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people watching their stuff and loving their stuff and commenting on everything they have, and he comes out with a physical album that 3 people plus him get a copy of, and it's quite an honor to be one of those people. So I'm very thankful to add that to the collection. I got another CRT TV. A much larger one. It's not as big as the one back there, and not as small as the one on the bottom shelf there, but it's kind of in the middle. It comes with a working remote, and one of the video ports in the back doesn't work, but it still has all the same ports on the front, so it doesn't really impact anything. It doesn't have as many scan lines as I'd like, but it's still got a nice refresh rate and good color balance, so it works better with like the what would be the 2nd, 3rd, 4th gen. Not really with the 5th or 6th all that much, but it's still a pretty solid TV. I don't really know if I'll do much with it. A friend just gave it to me, so I have it for the time being. Maybe I'll find a new owner or something. But it's certainly not up to the quality of my other two. But I have another CRT now, I guess, if I need it. Another one is I finally picked up an actual green screen for my videos, which you've probably seen me mess around with a little bit on Twitch, but it's just nice to have an actual dedicated green screen to goof around with things. For the longest time I couldn't really use them because I had green hair. That's not a problem anymore, so now I can mess around with a green screen to my heart's content and do stupid things. Like this, and that, and wow, and D&D things that we recorded like half a year ago and didn't really use for long at all because we all thought they were dumb. Since I do collect games simply for the sake of playing them rather than like having them look really cool, with the exception of like the Metroid Prime Steelbook, I did have like a disc case that I kept all the loose games in, except it wasn't a very good one and the zipper kept breaking, and I came across a very goofy one that the game store owner just gave it to me for free because no one else was taking it, so now I have a SpongeBob disc case for all of my loose games. So that's fun. And yeah, I guess I have that now to mess around with. I don't know, just a funny little thing on the shelf. It's really, really well made, but it's just got a brand that everybody but me knows a lot about, it seems. So, a goofy little addition to the collection. Another thing I got, clearly, is I upgraded my mic stand. Or, over here, I guess. Or, yeah. So I upgraded the stand to my mic, and so now I have one that's a lot more solid and grips the platform a lot more. It has more versatility for moving it and latching into certain positions. So, really happy to get the upgrade for the mic arm. But also, another upgrade is I got a new tripod, which is this one that the camera's on right now. Yeah, look at my little janky setup to get everything working. But it's a much taller and more flexible one than my previous one, and it also has kind of like a swivel tip. It also comes with like a phone mount, so I can use it kind of more in the field if I want to record stuff on my phone. So it's really nice to have that addition. And I also did get 2 other new tripods, because until buying new tripods, the tripods I was using were all tripods from like some of the overhead lights here. Like came with like tripods and umbrella stand or dullers or dimmers or something like that. And I'd just been putting binder clips on those and like mounting webcams to them. But I have like some more dedicated tripods. So I got this one, which has a very small footprint, but it also can stretch about as tall as I'd really need it to for a video or for a recording. So this is a really nice one for streams because we can just kind of leave it in one place, and it has a mount for a phone or like the webcam as well. So it's just much nicer to have kind of that upgrade and versatility. Comes with its own little shoulder strap case. And then the last tripod I got was one that kind of has something like a desk clamp on the bottom, and it's got this fully adjustable arm that just stays in place, and a swivel mount at the top. And this is something that I can put my webcam on. So pretty much anywhere that I can clamp this down, I can adjust my webcam to match it. So it gives me much more versatility with coming up with dynamic camera angles for streams, setups, and recordings. But also by doing that, it means that I don't need to have something taking up floor space, but I can still have it like reaching out in a very specific direction. So we've been able to do this to move the camera a little bit further back for our D&D streams, getting more characters and people on frame. So it's been a huge help to have an arm like that to mount the camera onto. The last pickup. Now this is something that Dream, or just call me Dream, got for us. I think he's technically still the owner of it, but we have it here. And so he got us the nut button. Excuse me, Your Honor.
Nut.
It's a giant button, and when you press it,
Nut.
it does that. And that's it. That's the last pickup. Here we are. Over 3.5 hours over 3 hours and 40 minutes of footage in Gaming Pickup 6. Wow, that's gonna be a nightmare to edit. But yeah, there we go. I think like 218 or 19 pickups in a 7-month period. So yeah, I got a job promotion and I have been abusing that way more than I should have. I need to cut back and catch up on some of these games. But thank you again for watching. If you want to ask questions about some of the things here or get better pictures of them, you can join the Discord server. That'll be one of the links in the description. And I'm always active on there if you just are like, can I get a closer picture of the spear or something like that. Yeah, this is super fun. I really like this series. I don't like when I'm recording them at 5 a.m. I shouldn't do this to myself. But thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more of Gaming Pickups, when in the Discord server, I update everybody as soon as I get a pickup. It's in the Discord server, and then the accumulation from like the last video to the current video or something is when the next one is set up for. So this is everything since January 5th up to the beginning of August 2nd, I believe. Yeah, although. I already have been talking with the owner of the local game store, and he's already got like 3 more things that I want to add to the collection. So, just follow or join the Discord server if you want to catch up on everything. I also stream on Twitch somewhat regularly. All of the links are in the description. You've probably been on YouTube long enough to know how all this advertising stuff works. I'm not any good at it. So, either way, have a good one. See you next time.